Hey everyone, it's Albie. Welcome back to my channel. I have another recommendations video for you today. I was inspired by some of my fellow booktubers. Recently there's been a tag going around discussing some of their favorite damaged hero romances. So I thought I would share 5 with you today. I have a mixture of historical as well as contemporary again. So I thought we'll just go ahead and get started. So first I'll go with 2 by Julia Quinn. A lot of her stories have a hero that has been damaged either emotionally, physically, etc., or mentally, yeah, in some cases. And so I'll start with the first one, which is Bridgerton, The Duke and I, which is the first in the series. In this we have Simon, the Duke of Hastings, and he has had a very traumatic childhood. His mother passed away giving birth to him, basically. I think she might have died shortly after. But he loses his mother at birth, and his father always sees the flaws in him. Simon is born with a pretty debilitating stutter, and because of the time period in which the setting is, which is Regency, early 1700s, Simon is ridiculed, not understood, seen as not intelligent. I don't want to say like other words for it, but seen as having a disability of sorts, and he has to overcome that. But he is so distraught by his stutter and how his father treated him. His father basically treated him like dirt, pretended his son was dead, and lots of other things, just to not have Simon be seen as the next Duke of Hastings. But Simon does overcome his stutter, except for when he's very anxious or upset. It does flare up, but for the most part he is able to control it, and he does conceal it as well. And that produces a big problem for Simon, because he is terribly afraid that if or when he fathers a child, that child could have the same ailment as he does, and he doesn't want to have a child to go through what he had to as a young man growing up. So a very interesting story featuring a damaged hero. One of my favorite stories. Obviously this is a show on Netflix, so you can either read the book or watch the show if you want. In my opinion, the TV show is really close to the book. I mean, there are some differences, but not to the point where they're vastly different. So you could either read the book, which I would do. I read the book and then watch the show, or you could just watch the show if you wanted to as well, or audiobook, whatever you choose. But yes, Simon, definitely a damaged hero, but oh so brooding, oh so romantic. Great book, great show as well. I have another one also from the Bridgerton series. This is To Sir Philip with Love. This is book 5 or 6. A little confusing. The timeline gets a little jumbled up near the end of the series. There's a few years that pass in the first books, and then the last couple books are within like a month or a year apart, and the timeline's a little warped, so to speak. But this is To Sir Philip with Love. This is Eloise's romance, and Sir Philip is definitely a damaged hero. When I read this book, absolutely loved this sort of Beauty and the Beast vibes that it gave me, where he's secluded in his, wasn't a castle, but a large estate, and he's very Philip is very down and very controlling, but it's because of emotional damage. And yes, I hear that in that song from TikTok in my head. But he has suffered a great loss, where his wife I can't remember her name, it's with an M. I can't remember. Sorry, he doesn't say. Well, sadly, his wife commits suicide at the beginning of the story, and his wife is the cousin to Eloise Bridgerton. So that's the connection to the Bridgertons. Obviously, this is a Bridgerton romance with Eloise Bridgerton as the female lead. And he's very brooding, very damaged, and he has 2 children that are his are his bright light in his life, but the absence of his wife, and to know that she had mental mental incapacities that led to her untimely death, it's really bothered him, and he has a strong love for his children, but also a disconnect. I want to say her name was Mariana. Sorry for the back and forth, but yeah, so he has a lot of obstacles to overcome, and he starts a sort of a pen pal um, relationship, so to speak, with Eloise. And he basically says to her, you know, why don't we give this a shot at a romance? I mean, we have this really strong connection over letters. Why don't you come with a guardian and come to the estate and see if we could make this work in real life, you know, sort of a modern day texting relationship, so to speak. And so Eloise does go, but without a guardian, without telling anyone. She sneaks out in the middle of the night to go to his estate. And sort of this whole, you know, how beauty tamed the beast sort of motif that goes on. So I loved Philip. He was brooding, damaged, and had a lot of obstacles, but Eloise was like the perfect charm and what he needed to get through his struggles. So if you love sort of Beauty and the Beast vibes, not where he's not beast in physicality. Well, he's tall and, you know, muscular, but, you know, beast in the needs to be helped sort of thing. I loved his Sir Philip with Love, one of my favorite Bridgerton books. And I also loved, there's a scene where Eloise is found out about where she is, and there might be a storming of Bridgerton brothers that come into Sir Philip's estate. So that was a wonderful scene as well. I cannot wait for that to happen on the show. But love that one as well. I'll go ahead with the theme of historicals, and then my last two will be contemporary. So this was another one of my favorite reads from 2021. I have not seen a lot of people discuss this book or Christina Britton or the series. This is technically in a series. I don't think it says what series it is. It's book 2, does it say? The Isle of Sign series. So I don't think book 1 is probably a good Duke is hard to find, and book 3 is Someday My Duke Will Come. So technically this is book 2, but I didn't know that. I picked it up at Walmart. It was purple, and no, I got this at Target, but it was purple, and my mom actually picked this one out for me because we were together, and there was like a couple I wanted. She was like, which one? I was like, which one do you think I should get? And she's like, get this one because the shirt's already off. So I guess she thought it'd be spicy, which it was. Very romantic. So our hero, Daniel Hyde, is Duke of Carlisle, and he has returned from battle. He fought in the Battle of Waterloo, and he is physically changed from the war. He has lots of battle scars and disfigurations from the war. You wouldn't really know from the cover unless it's like Phantom of the Opera on the other side. They don't really do that on the covers, I guess. But physically, mentally, and emotionally scarred from his time in the Battle of Waterloo. He lost a brother, and that's how he became the Duke. Was his elder brother was the Duke of Carlisle. I have to always figure that word out, or name. And his older brother passes away from the war, so he goes to war, and because he survives and he's the eldest son, he becomes the next Duke to his family. He meets Marjorie Kittredge, and her husband actually was in the war as well, and there's a big twist and mystery about whether Daniel might have been the one that accidentally killed Marjorie's husband. You know, so yeah, there's some lot of angst, a lot of romance. This was such a really good book, such a lovely romance, just like all the good feels while reading it. It had some really good spicy scenes. It's actually a virgin hero, so if you're looking for that trope as well, we have a virgin hero in this story. Wonderful. And yeah, so he wants to go and find a wife. He has Marjorie help him find a wife, and he lots of scars. So literally, it's scarred hero. Air quote. My hand is actually burned at the moment. I'm having it on ice, so I can't do air quotes. But damaged hero, physically, emotionally, mentally from the war. But romance can help all that. And my last two are contemporaries. This is one I got actually. I'm not sure if it's considered a giveaway. I guess it is a giveaway. That on Goodreads you can enter in to win a book, and I actually won this book and I loved it. It's Wildflower Road. This is also in a series. It's from the Madison River Romance. I think this is book 2. Maybe I think it is book 2. I don't think it's book 3 or anything. And does it say? Hard to do it with one hand. But love this story. It's by Janine Roche. Sorry, hard for me to say. And this is a contemporary romance. I would call it a clean romance. It does have our hero is nicknamed America's rock and roll pastor, so he was a minister, but it doesn't have like religious themes necessarily or religious undertones. It's more just a clean romance. When I read it and I reviewed it, it reminded me of a Hallmark movie where it's just clean. So there's not really a like Christian message with the story. So if you don't want necessarily a Christian romance, but you want just a clean romance, this is a good one to pick up because there's not like religious undertones with the story, in my opinion. And so Shane Olsen was basically a rock and roll pastor. I think he has like tattoos. He's like the modern hipster minister. And there was a viral video that destroyed his career. So he basically has come to Montana. Small town. Is it Montana? Yes, small town in Montana. He's basically like a handyman and helps run this. Is it an inn? It's like an inn, like campsite inn sort of thing. And he meets Ryan Marie, and her husband has also passed away. So this is another widow romance. This is actually a widow romance as well, and this is a widower romance. So also, if you're looking for that trope, we have widower and 2 widow romances as well. Sorry for the... Actually, might have 4. No, we have a divorce. I'm sorry. Never mind. So we have a widower, and he is divorced. So there is some drama with his past life as the rock and roll minister and a viral video that happened, but you find out the truth, sad truth for Shane. But this was a really good romance as well. It has all that like small town charm romances, which also gave me the Hallmark vibes for the story. Loved it. This is one, if you want a clean romance, highly recommend this book. I would probably pick up another one in the series. I really did enjoy it. I gave it, I believe, 5 stars. And I liked that it was one of those where the small town is sort of not really a character, but you have other little fun secondary characters as well in the town. You get this sort of sense of how the neighborhood would be like, and etc. like that. So I enjoyed that aspect as well in the story. And my final pick is another contemporary. This one is very popular. I would label this as, I don't know if it's necessarily teen. I would have read this and enjoyed it a lot more as a teen reader. I think you could read this as a teenager. Do what you want, read what you want to read. And this is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. So we have we have the damaged hero of Miles Archer, who has a dark past. He presently suffers from alcoholism. It doesn't really say that it is, but I think it's alcoholism, or the start of alcoholism. And he meets Tate Collins, and she is the sister to his best friend, or I think they're kind of pseudo roommates. It doesn't really say, but so she's the sister of his best friend. So she meets him in a weird situation. She gets to San Francisco, I believe. and she's going to stay with her brother for like a night, or maybe full on live with her brother. She wants to start over. She's a nurse. Excuse me. And she meets him in a drunk stupor. She's basically called her brother like, there's this guy, and he's like fully drunk on like the outside of your outside of the door. Like he's like passed out, or like nearly passed out at the front door of the apartment. And she's like, oh, what do I do with this guy? And so she calls her brother, and he's like, oh yeah, that's Miles. She's like, what's he doing here drunk? You know, sort of thing. And so basically she takes care of him, and he sobers up in the morning. They get to know one another, and a romance blossoms. He definitely has a lot of emotional scars from things that happened in his past. The story is sort of a framed narrative, so you have two stories overlapping between present and past. I believe it's over the span of 5 years. I believe it's 5 years. And so you have, in the 5 years in the past are from Miles's point of view. So you get a lot of Miles and not so much of Tate. And I did not like Tate as our heroine. I found her really annoying. But I really enjoyed Miles Archer. He was such a wonderful hero. I will say, have your tissues ready if you're definitely an emotional reader. This is an emotional story near the end when you find out what happened in Miles's past. For me, I did enjoy the story. I do plan to read more Colleen Hoover. I will say I would have enjoyed this a lot more if I was in high school or like in my early college years. I read this at 20, was I? Yeah, I was 29 when I read this. I'm 30 now. And I just feel like I'm a little, probably cynical. I'm a little more cynical for the book than probably good for me. But I did enjoy it. I think teen readers would really love this. I mean, as a teenager, I read all the Nicholas Sparks basically that were published at the time. I read Twilight, of course, and Twilight is low-key erotica. I mean, if you know, you know. You know. So yeah, I would recommend this for teen to college readers the most. I think they'll get the most enjoyment of the story. But I think anyone can read it as well. It's not written for teens, I would say, but it's also not written for teens. I mean, I read the Gossip Girl books, so I was exposed to a lot more than this book ever went to. You know, if you've read the original Gossip Girl books by Cicely Von Geyser, book 7, y'all, that was an awakening. That was a lot. I was like, when they had the TV show, I was like, as even back when it came out, it was that 2006 or 7, I was like, this should have been on HBO, because they ain't going to be doing a lot of stuff like they did in the books, let me tell you. And now the reboot is on HBO, which makes a lot more sense. But anyway, I digress. All these are my picks for romances with a damaged hero. Let me know if you have any that you've read from this list that you liked. What is your favorite book with a damaged hero? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've had a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, as well as comment. You can follow me on Instagram as well as TikTok at I'll Be Reading Romance, all one word, and on here at I'll Be Reading Romance. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.